We are so lucky we have won the die roll again. We are not lucky though. We keep getting these awful hands. For a 2-color deck with a lot of early creatures and a lot of lands, we have run pretty bad. Hidden Dragonslayer is not really a good 2-drop, but there's certain situations where it's decent. I have to assume that we're up against the Bant company deck, which has a lot of 3 toughness creatures, which is really bad for Hidden Dragonslayer, but we're going to run it out on turn 2 anyway. Can't really be helped, and we can get in for like 2 points of life. That matters. There's not that many things for us to kill with it morphed. Like there's Sylvan Advocates much later in the game, and there's Archangel, but and I am actually just going to cast this morphed. It means that if our opponent plays a Reflector Mage and for some reason targets our Hidden Dragonslayer, which obviously is unlikely, at least we can fight. And I will be casting Collected Company on my main phase most likely, just because if we hit an Anafenza, that means our Hidden Dragonslayer can actually attack through the Reflector. But since we actually hit a 2-drop, it might be more worth it to fire off this. No, I think I'd rather hold on to the company. If I can engineer a situation where I can fight with the company and put a +1/+1 counter on this Hidden Dragonslayer, it'll make it significantly better. So I think I'm going to opt to do that. I'm going to do it main phase though, just because if I do hit an Anafenza, that means that bolster, which is pretty nice. And it looks like our best 2 options are going to be Duskwatch Recruit and Anafenza. The Knight of the White Orchid isn't a bad option. Simply because putting a +1/+1 counter on it is pretty nice. I already have a Duskwatch Recruit. So actually I think I'm going to go for the Knight of the White Orchid. Against a Reflector Mage deck, it is kind of nice to diversify your creatures. And this is pretty nice, because now our Hidden Dragonslayer gets to attack. This is a pretty interesting matchup, and a matchup where I'm still learning things. The Bant Company deck, in addition to being a very good deck, it has a fair amount of nuance to it. Like, for example, these Lumbering Falls can actually be a huge problem in like a board stall where there's multiple Sylvan Advocates out. With Reflector Mage and Renegade Crisis, things are obviously also fairly interesting, and Collected Company means that this... I basically have access to better card advantage, but my opponents had access to better onboard tempo. And let's see, can I just attack with this? Not really, unfortunately. I mean, I can attack with it, but yeah, I guess it's probably worth it for me to attack. If I attack, that means I could... Yeah. I can just put a +1/+1 counter on it and fight if he tries to block. So currently I'm ahead on life, and I'm significantly more ahead on life because of that Hidden Dragonslayer, which does matter quite a bit. My opponent passes here. I have to worry about not only Avacyn, but Collected Company as well. This is likely to be a Den Protector. And in this situation, I think it's still fine for me to just attack with the Advocate and the Knight. I wonder if it's fine for me to attack with the Duskwatch Recruit also. So if I attack with the Duskwatch Recruit, assuming the morph is a Den Protector, you can't just... So I think the worst thing you could do is have morph and Advocate on Knight and Reflector Mage on Duskwatch Recruit. If he did that, then I think I would have to put like... I would put a +1/+1 counter on Duskwatch Recruit and have it fight the Sylvan Advocate. That's what I would do. Yeah, so actually I'm fine to attack with everything. First Strike and Dromoka's Command are like 2 peas in a pod. So this is probably the best blocks that my opponent can get. But I get to lose nothing here. 2 for 1, my opponent. Unless he has his own Dromoka's Command, in which case it's like a blowout in the opposite direction, but... So if I have a... So if I put a +1/+1 counter on this Knight of the White Orchid, and have it fight his Sylvan Advocate, and in response he just puts a +1/+1 counter on his Sylvan Advocate and has his Reflector Mage fight my Duskwatch Recruit, then I'm just totally dead. But just gonna go for it anyway. Looks like I'm gonna lose this game. Oh, Stratus Dancer! Holy cow! Didn't expect that. Well, this is also a complete and utter blowout. Well, that was not good for me. And now I basically have nothing to do. I do want to play this face down. A little weird that he's not attacking with a Reflector Mage. Did have a Dromoka's Command. Should have just attacked with both. I understand. I was gonna say I could really use a Collected Company about now. My opponent's flyers are actually going to be a huge problem. Bygone Bishop is going to do a ton of work. And missing land drops here is obviously bad, and only hitting a Sylvan Advocate is not good either. And I just have no profitable blocks. Take 13, go to 9. Pretty bad. And I think I'm hoping to hit another land drop for the Hidden Dragonslayer next turn, and just cast Deathmist Raptor this turn. My opponent has Avacyn, which it would certainly make sense that he does. I'm deader than dead. It's likely to do it also. So, yep, we're dead. So, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of pre-boarded for the matchup. The only change that I make is take out the Hidden Dragonslayers and bring in the Tragic Arrogance. Tragic Arrogance is absolutely phenomenal when your opponent is constantly bouncing stuff back to your hand and casting Collected Companies. I think that's the only change I want to make. Yeah. Against his version, there's certainly an argument for Clipwings, but given the fact that I have the Tragic Arrogances, I kind of want to make sure that my Collected Companies stay good. I don't really I would like to have Gideon in this matchup, but it's so easy for him to attack my Planeswalkers. So, in that last game, the one turn where I played Dromoka's command and my opponent had Stratus Dancer, it was obviously really bad for me, but if it had worked, it would have been, almost would have guaranteed the win. And a lot of the more recent versions of that deck only play 3 Dromoka's commands, and most of them do not play Stratus Dancer. And if they do play Stratus Dancer, it's only a one-of. Usually that morph is either a Den Protector or a Hidden Dragonslayer. Those are like the more common options. So it was a calculated risk that was likely to either win or lose me the game. But I think it was a risk worth taking. Wow, this is great. I get to bash him for 3 and eat whatever he plays next. I always forget about that. I do want to push tempo as much as I can. His deck is so good at, or his or her, I'm assuming it's going to be his because his name's Carlos, but the Bant Company deck is so good at generating tempo that if you're not in a position where you're kind of ahead, it's likely that you're going to be behind very quickly. So I think I'm just going to eat this. And just hit my opponent for a ton of damage. And let's see, I think I want to... put this guy. My Deathmist Raptor is likely to be able to attack through anything anyway. So this makes running a double block a little harder on the 4/4. And we don't have much going on, and Tragic Arrogance is obviously not very good in a particular board state that we're looking at, but between Collected Company and Bounding Crisis, Reflector Mage, our opponent can try to make his side of the board much nicer than ours pretty quickly. Deathmist Raptor is certainly the card that we wanted to trade there, so that works out fine. Now our opponent probably assumes that we have Avacyn, but they'll likely make the same play no matter what. While not ideal, this does mean that we get to or actually we don't get to replay our Duskwatch Recruiter. That's pretty good though. So I'll play it face down so that I can get my other one back. It's also unlikely that my opponent will go out of his way to kill this, because if it's a Den Protector, getting Dromoka's command back and the Deathmist Raptor back and then being able to replay the Den Protector is like insane. So my opponent has a Reflector Mage, there's a good chance that he just doesn't use it on my Reflector, or on my Deathmist Raptor. Out quite well. So here, we might be able to get more usefulness out of this than we expect. I mean, he has to assume that this is a Den Protector. It would make his play make the most sense. We are a little flooded, but I don't really want to allow this to get Dromoka's commanded for free. Wow, brutal. And I don't think we can cast this yet. Oh yeah, we can. Sweet. So now we're in a pretty good scenario. I do say so myself. So this is just not a good card in this scenario. The whole advantage of my deck is while my opponent's playing Void Grafter and Reflector Mage, which are great cards, but tempo cards, I'm playing Deathmist Raptors and other things that are good at trading and generating advantage. So what do I want to do here? I think I'm going to play the... So the thing that would generate the most value is to activate Duskwatch Recruit and cast Collected Company. I don't have a land drop for my Tireless Tracker yet, so I think that's what I'm going to opt to do. First, I'll just attack with the Deathmist Raptor. And again, trading away these Deathmist Raptors is basically free, especially when one of the things I intend to do is... oh, I was supposed to use that. LOL. Dude, I'm so bad at this game. Still getting used to the new cards. Telling you guys, it's tough to, like, talk through everything and think of entertaining ways to say things, articulate clearly, and then also just play Magic the Gathering properly, which is like the hardest game in the world. So I hope my opponent doesn't have like a Dispel here. Certainly a reasonable, sideboard card for them to have. So not a huge surprise there. So this does mean we get to cast Deathmist Raptor and Tireless Tracker, which is kind of nice. Opponent's very low. Wow. Not even trying to trade with it. I find that rather surprising. If I wanted to go for the value route, I could have activated Duskwatch Recruit and then cracked my clue end of turn, but seems like my opponent's in a pretty bad spot. And I think I can capitalize on the situation by just deploying more creatures to the board. Wow. I'm surprised they brought that in. He does know I have 4 Dromoka's Command. I think that's just sort of the desperate situation that Deathmist Raptor puts him in, though. I mean, what else is he going to do? Wow. Oh, man. It's so entertaining. So let's see here. How can I get the most value off of this? So I think the way that I get the most value off... Wow, I'm just doing my opponent dirty. So let's make sure I have enough mana to do this. I need 7. Okay, so I can play my Tireless Tracker. Play a land. Oh yeah, I can't play it. So what's my best option then? I could put a +1/+1 counter on the Duskwatch Recruit, have him sack an enchantment, and then attack with everything. But I'd like to do better than that. I think I just attack with everything and put a +1/+1 counter on my Duskwatch Recruit and have him sack an enchantment inside of combat. It's almost worth it for me to play Tragic Arrogance here, but I'd rather keep that sort of hidden for now. It seems like I'm in such a favorable position to win this game anyway. So yeah, I think I just attack with both. Just use Dromoka's combat, or Dromoka's command in the most advantageous way possible. I do have to worry a little bit about Declaration in Stone. But right now my opponent's just throwing away so many cards, and even if he does Declaration in Stone, like, I lose my Deathmist Raptor advantage, but it's fine. So I definitely want to kill the Duskwatch Recruit first. I'll just do this. And I'll be able to get my other Deathmist Raptor. Oh wait, no, I won't be able to get it back face down. But I will get 2 activations out of my Duskwatch Recruit, which is pretty nice. It's probably worth it to do at least 1 right now. Maybe I draw something like... If I drew a Tireless Tracker, I'd play it. And I drew a Tireless Tracker. Perfect! Oh, I still can't play it. LOL. Well, we'll just pass. It's a good card. I do get to play both Tireless Trackers and play a land, which is a lot of card advantage. I think I can start by just attacking with both. So in this game I've been ahead the whole time, so this Tragic Arrogance hasn't looked good. But if I can get ahead, it's just so good for me. The main problem is when I get behind. My deck has way more card advantage than my opponent's deck. So, you know, despite not casting this Tragic Arrogance, I do feel it is one of the better cards I have in the matchup. And even if my opponent has something like End Hostilities, I still get to draw 2 cards. I've got 2 cards in my hand. I just want to put stuff on the board and end this game before... Whoa! Alright. That's a card. I was going to say, and I still get to like recur my Deathmist Raptors and stuff like that, but never mind. That was a pretty big deal. But I can rebuild. Clock is running out though. So I think it's safe for me to just attack with the Advocate. But I can also just wait a turn and I think I just want to go for it. Yeah. Would like to get this for the 1 less mana before that offer expires. If he does have a Avacyn, I will lose my Sylvan Advocate, but I won't lose more than that. And I'll still have access to some good stuff. So I think it's worth it for me to crack my clue here. Nice. Would have liked to have had that before, but no matter. That's gotta... still good for me. Now the biggest issue is actually my clock, especially for the next game. I've done a lot of talking, and I just did too much. So So managed to not show him the Tragic Arrogance. We are going to be under the gun for this game though, so I may do a little less talking. Alright, 7 minutes, here we go. Definitely going to keep this. If we can hit a plains, we're going to be in good shape. If we hit a plains, we're going to be in like super good shape. If we don't hit any lands, we're going to be in really bad shape. Come on, plains! Ugh. I think it's probably still worth it to play this. We need lands, and this will allow us to play Knight and Duskwatch Recruit next turn, which is kind of nice. I'd actually just play Knight and Sylvan and Dromoka's command. Dude, it would have been so insane if our opponent just like chose to fail to find. So I'm inclined to kill the Sylvan Advocate here because Sylvan Advocate is a really good threat. This will essentially force the issue for my opponent to either bounce or tap this Knight of the White Orchid on my next attack step, and it'll set up my Anafenza to be a little bit more powerful. So we had a kind of a bad hand with the way that our opening lands lined up, but the Knight of the White Orchid was certainly helpful. Anafenza lines up pretty conveniently against Reflector Mage. And I want to put the counter on the Duskwatch Recruit because if he has another Reflector Mage, I'd rather him bounce my Duskwatch Recruit so that Anafenza can stay in play and generate more triggers. I think I forgot to play a land. My turn. I did. I did get to generate a fair amount of value though. Clock is so low. Do get to flood out the board quite nicely. And I will certainly have attacks next turn. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have like Declaration in Stone. This Bant Company deck is so good with Morph creatures. Wow, I'm really doing it. So make my Anafenza or my Duskwatch Recruiter 4/4. Play this other Deathmist Raptor, which is pretty nice, but I think maybe I want to hide the Deathmist. So this creates the most board presence. Don't think my opponent's gonna. I mean, if he has the thing that exiles all creatures, that's obviously going to be really bad. But if he doesn't, it's going to be pretty good. I need to finish this game quite quickly. And I still have significantly better board presence. I'm also just way up on cards. I guess I'm not up on cards, I'm about equal, but I have all my permanents in play. Once I flip up this Deathmist Raptor, it's going to be a 5/5. I'm going to get the other one back, which is going to be really nice. Another morph. Their deck doesn't play that many morphs. Surprised. Oh, that's pretty nice. How good is that right now? It's great. Make an emblem? I think emblem is one of the better things that I can do here. Just makes everything that I have so hard to deal with. He's got a Hidden Dragonslayer for my Tireless Tracker. Obviously that'll be pretty annoying. So this looks like a Hidden Dragonslayer. Yeah. Still think I feel okay, but kind of wish I had thought about that a little longer. Clock is ticking though. This could be a good Tragic Arrogance turn. Nice. So considering my opponent only has 2 creatures, probably not worth it for me to do the big move quite yet. We're certainly getting to that moment. He has like a reflector mage, so that'll be perfect. Wow, not even an attack with Sylvan Advocate. Do here. Let's just bash with this. Oh, this is going to be perfect. I get to attack my raptor. I guess I'll tap it. But I should do this turn. You'd leave him with just a Den Protector. Then rebuild with Collected Company. Ugh. I do want to cast my Collected Company on my turn. In case I hit a Tireless Tracker, I can play this forest. I do have 2 Deathmist Raptors in the graveyard, which is kind of nice. It's good. Oh, I actually should have just played my Deathmist Raptor face down. I could have flipped it up. Oh well. Come on, do your thing. It's getting down to the wire. These blocks aren't that good this turn. You can kill 2 of them, but I get to be left with 1. Probably would have been worth it for me to play my lands. And then they all would have been able to be 5/5s. If he has a land here, I just win. If he has a Collected Company, obviously I don't. Well, that's pretty good. A few good answers for that card. don't think I can actually do this in time. Oh, and we did it! Totally sick. That was so close. All right, well, I'm glad I beat Collected Company. Just to wrap up things real quick, just to once again go to the deck list, because that was a sick win. I didn't do much talking there at the end, but I can't let it go that fast. That basically showed a lot of the strength of the deck, beating essentially the premier deck in the format that's extremely similar. I mean, it's another Collected Company deck. Again, the big thing about my deck, as opposed to the other Collected Company deck, is that I just have a lot more card advantage. When they're casting things like Reflector Mage and Renegade Krasis that have a lot of impact the turn they get played, in those really long games, they just don't have a good answer for Deathmist Raptor. Their best answer is usually Declaration in Stone, but Declaration of Stone isn't really a card that you want in these kind of matchups. So if it ends up being that they have Declaration in Stone and you need to use it, but they don't use it on Deathmist Raptor, it's not that good. And sometimes they only hit 1 or 2 Deathmist Raptors. The other 2 Deathmist Raptors that I get end up being really powerful. So, my deck rocks. You guys should take notice. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks again for watching my stuff. And apologize if I played a little bad for not knowing a lot of the cards and rushing because of the clock. But again, my main purpose is just to show you the deck, explain why it's good, and impart some information. And it's up to you guys to play tight when you pick it up. Anyway, peace out. See you guys next week.